Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Shalom. Hotep. Namaste. Jambo. Ashe. All the greetings that you can think of. All the greetings of love and light to the darkest minds of the light. I am Napashada. This is the Rise channel. Reality is simulated existence. You make your own reality and your own existence. Just having a thought right now. I was just watching people. It's, by the way, we are breaking records in Phoenix, y'all. Records. Before I get started in my thoughts, yesterday we were hotter than Death Valley, which is the hottest place on earth. Yes, the hottest place on earth is in the Southwest. It's called Death Valley. We broke the record yesterday. It was 117 degrees in Phoenix. And it hadn't gotten, the record was 1995. That's what I'm trying to say. The record was 1995 on yesterday's date, which was the 6th, I think. And that was, it was like 113. Don't quote me. It might've been 115, but we broke that record in Phoenix. It was 117 degrees. Yes. We are literally lit in AZ. So peace to everybody. I just want to quickly say peace to the family, Afro Nation family, Lady Kier, and your husband, Devin. Peace to both of you. Peace to your children. Peace to your family. Much love. I just was thinking about this. The majority of the population, I'm talking about the United States. The majority of the people are not rich, right? The majority of the population is a working class population, middle class or lower middle class, or even poverty level. Okay, we were talking about larger families or families. That's the majority of our population. Middle class, lower middle class, or even we're talking about poverty level. We all say that's the majority of the population, right? So why is it that we live in a culture that actually shames the have-nots? We live in a culture that makes people feel, in general. Now there are different communities that don't do that, but they're few and far between. There are minimalist, which I had lived a minimalistic life for a while with my children. It was great. And this is actually when I was married to their father, and we were upper middle class at the time. So that was what was going on with our family income, just for your information. But I always looked at a minimalistic lifestyle as attractive. Even before I was married, when I had more money, and I had been making around 6 figures a year with my business. I had a photography business. I was modeling. I was doing different businesses. So that was the pinnacle of my income when I was in my 20s. So even then, I wasn't interested in buying in opulence. I wasn't interested so much in buying things in excess, or I shouldn't even say buying things in excess. I wasn't interested in buying expensive things that were known to be expensive. Now, vehicles and shoes and certain things that, just have a higher price tag because of quality. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can't avoid that have a higher price tag, and people know that you spent more on it, and the quality equates with the money that you spent. So I'm not just saying exactly that. You get what I'm saying? I'm not looking in the chat because I stay focused. You know how I get sidetracked. But peace to everybody who comes in. Please hit the like. Please subscribe. Please listen in. Give your feedback. But I digress. So some things, like for instance, food. You might buy a a brand of a food product that you know is healthier, and people know more, it costs more. Some things you can't avoid, you know what I'm saying. You're not going to buy something that's full of byproducts and preservatives and it's been processed. um that's going to show, okay, prices equal, um the amount that you spent. I mean, the quality. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about things like people who say, well, I'm going to wear this particular brand of shirt because I don't want to be wearing, let me give you next. I don't want to wear Great Value polos, which are exactly the same material, made the same as a regular polo shirt. Am I saying people shouldn't wear brands? No, I'm not saying that, but people in our society try to shame people for not affording that or not choosing to get the more expensive thing and show, look, I have the money to, quote me on this, I have the money to waste. I have the money to waste on this product. I was looking at something a while ago when we were talking about the one young lady, or she's actually in her 30s, who had a baby with the basketball player, and she had already had a baby with a rapper. And she responded to a lot of women who were shaming her about choosing to get a baby so she could get the paycheck. And I'm not shaming her on that, but I remember her saying something when she was responding to the people who were bothering her. She said, all you women sitting in your cars with your cloth seats. And that really stuck with me, because before she said that, it didn't even dawn on me that that was a problem. My car doesn't have cloth seats. I have leather seats. But if my car had cloth seats, who cares? But in our society, things like that are important, and it's been used to shame people. Like, oh, I didn't know that in some communities wearing what do they call is an embarrassing thing. Like I'm saying, like in high school, it's embarrassing, and you should never wear those, or Fila. And I'm saying different things out there, but I'm just saying, like, why is it that we shame the have-nots? People are shaming people who don't have. And when most of the society is a working class society that's, trying to just make it. Isn't that interesting? Also, I want to bring up something else. Like I was listening to a panel, and now again, I'm not shaming people for having things. I'm not shaming anyone at all. I'm ridiculing people who shame those who maybe can't get or can't afford to have things in opulence, or overspend for something that they could practically buy. Shopping at Target. Oh, another thing I saw on social media, a guy was filming his cute little daughter. She probably was about 4 or 5, and he and his wife were filming her, and they're like, oh, my daughter, what am I going to do? She's got I think he's like, she's got Bloomingdale taste. And he was naming stuff like department stores and stores. Like, are you going to be having, Nordstrom's taste or Macy's? And the daughter said, no, I like it here. I think it was Bloomingdale's. And then she's like, oh no, or maybe it was Barney's of New York. I don't know, but it was a place that is, very expensive to shop at. And she's like, no, I like it here. And then he's like, well, what about, I think he said, what about Nordstrom's? And she said, no, I like it here. And then he asked his wife, what are those other places, babe? What were those other places? And she's going to say, oh, you mean TJ Maxx? And he's like, yeah, can we go to TJ Maxx, baby? And the little girl's like, I like it here. And then the mom was like, he's like, what's that other place called? And the mom said, Ross. And then he said, what about Ross? And she said, nope, I like it here. He's like, oh no, please have taste it. And I'm thinking, first of all, Nordstrom's, Macy's, even Ross and TJ Maxx. I mean, come on. This is what I'm talking about. Why are you shaming, basically putting that vibe out there like, oh, these places are, who shops there? When the cap is so high, like, people are not shopping at Bloomingdale's and Barney's of New York. Most people aren't. And people will shame people if they're like, oh, why'd you get that knockoff? Or, oh, that was last year's. Even if you wear like the real brands, they'll be like in society on, mostly I'm talking about shaming on social media. Like, I've seen that lately, like, oh, those boots are from winter 2023. Now, granted, I used to be in the fashion industry, and I knew that when we do the spring fashion, we'll do the fashion week for spring, or you do this fashion week for fall. So I knew, that was a big deal in those forums. I shouldn't say forums, in those communities. But that was because if you're connected to the designer, if you're connected to if you're working as a model, you're not going to be spending probably the ticket retail price on that. You're going to be either getting those actual items for free, if not super, super, super discounted. So there's the balance, right? So, because when you're seeing these models wearing all this like up to date latest fashion, they're not paying for all of those clothes. And even when you see celebrities doing that, people who are uber rich, they're not paying for that stuff. The fashion houses are giving that stuff to them to wear so they can represent. But see, rich people are smart, and poor people or people who are middle class are not smart. You're falling for it. When I say not smart, I'm saying you think you need to spend $5,000 on an outfit when a celebrity didn't even pay anything for that outfit and they're wearing it, or somebody who can, actually, how do you say, $5,000 for an outfit, somebody who actually is smart and practical is like, I'm going to go get that at Ross for like, I don't know, a fraction of the price. I'll go pay $250 for it. So this is the thing. People in our society love to shame the have-nots. They want to, when we see them on social media, peace everybody, I see you, I love you everybody. I'm not going to be long on this, but I'm going to be strong on this because I want you to think about it. People want to shame the poor. They want to, now I talked about families that are working, going paycheck to paycheck, but let's talk about the shaming of even the poor. Like, how much longer are we going to shame the poor when we shame the homeless people that we see on the streets? I mean, what do we get from that? Do we feel better about ourselves, I guess? When you say, oh, look at these poor people, or like, and children experience that on a seriously traumatic level when they're at school. There are so many hungry children. There's laws passed nationwide that children have to be fed a breakfast in the morning and a lunch. That is mandatory. There's no such thing as paying for lunch anymore. There used to be. Remember when we paid for our children's lunch? I remember that. Now, if your child is even at private schools, it used to just be public. It used to be public schools, charter schools, even at private facilities, the schools, especially elementary schools, and I'm talking about high schools. If there are children attending those schools that are under 18, it's state mandatory. It's a state mandate that they offer a breakfast and a lunch for those children. Why? Because there is so much childhood hunger. There are homeless families, but in our society, especially, and I'm going to say it, the society as a whole, there's no color, but I would be remiss if I did not address my people, Black people, especially Black people who, it's a known fact that if somebody was like trying to say we're not even the poorest minority now. Latinos, Native Americans, and Blacks. Okay, so it like goes back and forth on who's the most impoverished families. So I'm gonna say this. Are there Asian families like Chinese, Korean, Japanese families that are poor? Yes, and I'm not excluding them or saying that there's not. Are there German people, white people? I'm saying that are impoverished. Yes, there are. And so I care about all children, especially, and all struggling families. I'm not just saying, oh, I'm only caring about my own people, but I will say this. Black people are Black families are really struggling, and the first people you'll hear to make fun of somebody's clothes, or oh, they don't have enough, or oh, why are you getting welfare, or why are you getting this, is Black people. Isn't that strange? Well, we got to talk about this more. Why do Black people do this? Why do Americans do this across the board? Why do United States citizens shame the have-nots when most of them are struggling themselves? Why? Because number one, yes, it's a capitalistic society. It's about have, get, materialism, own this. This is your worth. I was talking to a brother on a panel. He got triggered when I said Black men historically have had to be more showy, and they're great at it. All the outfits, the beautiful outfits that Black men and women do, they're sharp. But Black men especially, I'm going to start with the men, not the women. They have had to show their money, what they own, by their expensive clothing, expensive cars. Remember the necklaces, the jewelry, it's called dressing to the nines. The brother got mad. He thought it was a diss because he's so hypersensitive about being looked at as somebody that's not worth anything because of what he owns. Get it? So he got mad at me when I pointed out Black men have historically had to wear big chains, big rings, drive it, show their cars the most expensive. I want those rims. I don't want those rims for 400 or 500. I need the $2,000. In fact, I need the $5,000 ones. What was that song? D's, what is it? Throw some D's on it. Remember that song? It used to be my song. My point that I'm making is we're off balance. We're backwards. No one should be shamed for what they have. Your character should be based on, and that's even if you have a lot. There are people who have a lot of money and they don't look at people and say, well, I see your character being great because of what you have. In fact, people with the higher financial bracket, which I know personally, people in my family and people that are friends of mine or people that I've encountered, the more people have, they know that there are people of very poor character with a lot of money, and they know there are people with very high character with a lot of money. So they don't encounter someone with a lot of money or a lot of things and say right away, oh, this person is better, this person is of value because they got this and they got that. They don't, because they're like, so what? We're always around people who have a lot of money, but I need to look further. Now, do they have to have a certain standard of living once they are living in in certain communities? Of course. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about shaming people who are not, do not have the privilege or the pleasure of having more money or being able to have more financial freedom. You know, I don't, if I see someone drive up in a Mitsubishi Galant or a, let's see, whatever car, a 2000, I don't know, a 2015 or 2016 Mitsubishi Galant, I don't go, oh, here comes this bum. Oh, what's he doing? Or what's she gonna do? I don't, if somebody is wearing a great value something or carrying that bag, I don't really look down on people. And I know a lot of you don't either. This is just my thoughts about society in general, how just it seems like a lot of people will try to make the have-nots feel like they are not valued as people. And it doesn't matter about character. It matters about just what you can buy or what you can flaunt materialistically. So I said a lot. I just hope that this is received well. What's my definition of a have not? I mentioned it. People who don't have financial freedom to overspend on something. This is my opinion. If you could get something, like the guy said, he was making fun that his daughter, I think it was Bloomingdale's or maybe Barney's of New York, which I love Barney's of New York. I'm not going to, I used to love Barney's of New York. But I still love it, but I mean, when I actually could shop there, but I still love it. It's a great place. But I'm saying like if you could go to Barney's of New York and see a pair of gloves, I don't know, see some Prada, right? And you go, oh, these gloves are $800. They're exactly the same. And then the next I guess year, you could get the same gloves at like off the rack or like Nordstrom's off the rack or whatever it's called. And you see those gloves for like $80. People who could it's no big deal for them to buy a pair of gloves for $1,000 or something like that. Get it? Like, even if you could take the $1,000 and spend it, you would feel it. You'd have to budget it out. Like, okay, I can spend $1,000 on this outfit, but now I won't be able to probably, I don't know, go out to dinner next month as much as we do, you know, cut back maybe once a week instead of like 2 times a week or get my coffee. So that's what I mean by have-nots. I'm not even talking about poor people. I'm talking about people who actually, you feel, even though the funds are available, you feel it. Even now, like people would be like me, I don't care. I'm going to tell the truth. If I spend, even if I take an extra $200 and I just throw it away like, oh, I'm going to spend $200, which I've done that before. I do that often, like not throw it away, but if I'm shopping somewhere, the thing about me, and I think the women can relate to this, women, we are like natural shoppers. Men, yes, I know men can shop, but I'm talking about women. Have you ever been in the store and you forget that you are like on a budget and then you say, wait, hold on, when you get to the like the register, you're like, I only came in here for socks, and you like, do you see the price going up more and more? You're like, I just came to get a pair of socks. Why am I walking out here and I spent $175? So I'm talking about that. That's where you have to go, okay, I did that, fine, I could do it, but now I'm not going to stop at this juice place, or I'm not going to get, what do you say? I'm not going to go to the movies this weekend. We'll just we'll watch something on you know, the, what's that thing called? The thing you use, you know, that little remote that everybody gets, the Fire Stick, whatever you call it. So that's my point. So the have-nots are those people who, just like you and me, or like anybody in society. But I notice when, like I said, the thing about the lady with the cloth seats, like, really? I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think that that's supposed to be embarrassing, like to have cloth seats. But that's how it works. You want to shame the have-nots. The have-nots will be that person with cloth seats instead of leather seats, which is ridiculous to me. It is. It is. So peace and love to the darkest minds of the light. A lot of blacks are agents too. All right, peace, food vibes, nature, herbs, music channel. A lot of people are agents, but I hear what you're saying. And the provocateurs. Peace, Benita. I see you, Tahuti. Of course, everybody. Just keep that in mind. RBG, Rakim. Ben Frank, peace to you, my friend. Listen, yeah, why are we shaming people when we know, it's like most of the people in society cannot overspend just to, they say, oh, it's not tricking if you got it. You can't just like throw money out there, be just having expensive things and overspending and being like, oh yeah, cloth seats. I don't think so. And again, I didn't even know cloth seats were bad. I'm still laughing at that because that's one of the things that pops in my head. Like, wow, cloth seats is not cool. All right. So yeah, that's about it. Just wanted to leave you with that. The bottom line is, no pun intended. The bottom line is, it's not about material things. You're not going to shame families who don't have the money to buy all designer stuff for their children to go to school. It's not about things like that make you a better person. I don't care how much you can floss. I don't care how much you have. I don't. It looks great, but I look at somebody and really, for me, when I see somebody with a lot of that you can see right away that they have all designer and they're flashy, I see that. I know that person doesn't really. I'm sorry to say this, but I do go, oh, this person probably never really knew, like, how do you say it? Never really knew value or wasn't really raised with to look beyond money and things like that. And that's my prejudice. I'm serious. When I see somebody that's flashy and got a lot of flashy stuff, I'm not talking about something that's nice, but like, they got their designer bag, their Louis bag, their Louis belt, their expensive shoes. I'm like, this person was probably never taught the deeper value of things, which is not things at all, but it's about character and also class. I know. Hey, sorry. I usually am prejudiced against people when I see them wearing all designer, and I shouldn't be. But when I see somebody dripping in designer outfit like stuff, I think, oh, they didn't really get raised on a higher level, like I know a lot of people have. Yeah, so I got to work on that, right? Because usually it is that they're either trying so hard to prove when you are wearing, and 9 times out of 10, well, no, I'm gonna say 8 times out of 10, the poorest people be trying to flash and show what I have. Look what I have. Look, it'll be like people who don't have a lot. And does that make them like a bad person for not financially having a lot? No, like, just because you're poor, there's nothing, it doesn't say anything about who you are. Okay. It doesn't say anything about who you are as a person. It really doesn't. You could be having some type of circumstance. I can't automatically equate you having no money with you being lazy or a pariah or undesired to be, associated with in a business way. I can't do that. Especially looking at going back to what I say about Black men, how a lot of times there is a lot of discrimination. It's getting better. Yeah, it's better than it used to be, but it's still there. So, when I see somebody wearing a lot of different designer things that are expensive, I'm sorry. I start thinking, did they steal that? Or why would they waste their money on that when they know, if I could tell, like, the whole get up just is saying, I don't know. It seemed like I want you to really accept me. So it's like there's some insecurity there. And when I see the insecurity, I know there's no there's obviously the opposite of insecurity is stability. So that person to me, I'm sorry, that doesn't mean that they're not stable. But for me, usually it'll tell me this is somebody who really needs to show, look what I have, look what I have, treat me right because what I have. And it works in society. It works a lot. I mean, people see you walk up wearing a certain type of brand and having a lot of jewelry on, people think, oh yeah, that person has a lot. But you want to know something? Black people, I like to let you know, they don't treat us like that. They think, oh, like I said, did they steal it? Or, oh, is this a DRUG dealer? Oh, how did he get that money? Or how does she get that money? That's how they look at us anyway. So just be clean, be decent, look nice, have a nice presentation. But the main thing is, how do you treat people? How are you carrying yourself? How do you carry yourself? That is that goes a long way. And I think we should get back to, by the way, we didn't always act like this. We didn't always shame the have-nots. It really is getting worse as we progress in time. I don't know. I don't want to start blaming a lot of different factors like social media or disconnection or from this and that. But it is something we have to change. Again, I'm not saying you shouldn't have I'm not saying you shouldn't have nice things. But we shouldn't shame those who can't always have nice things. All right. So peace. Okay. It is hot. Okay. Peace. Peace, everybody.